Good afternoon, everyone. This is BremSter, and this is my Quincentenary. This is a puzzle that was created by rockratzero and BremSter's team. There's a bit of a theme on my channel at the moment. First of all, I don't know fully who is in BremSter's team. I can claim some credit for this, but I'll get to that in a minute. And the other theme on my channel at the moment is everything that matters to me at the moment is based around the having to look after my family that's left and mourning my father. I know I'm mentioning that a lot at the moment. It is just the most important thing to me right now, but I do want to say that this community and everyone that has come together around me has been so important, and I cannot stress that enough. And to have had my 500th puzzle, I mean, it's not the 500th video on my channel, but it's the 500th sort of official puzzle. If I track the list of all the puzzles that have been released, starting from the beginning when I wasn't releasing daily, and then when I did, and then recently I stopped. This is puzzle 500. There's the problem series. There is the BremSter's unpublished. There's been a couple of other series that have been released in unpublished videos, and at some point I may just do a dump of all of those unlisted videos so that they public, and you'll just see this huge list of videos. And then the normal daily stuff will pick up from there again, or whatever happens, because I've had people say, well, we don't find them when we look for them. And yeah, that was probably a mistake when I did it. Um, the other thing, of course, is the role playing stuff. And I've had people say, well, you should set up a different channel for that. But I want them to be findable, and I want to. And this channel was originally going to be about board gaming and role playing, and then I got into puzzles in a big way, and it was going to be small about puzzles, but then the puzzle stuff took off. So I don't know what to do in that regard. I don't want to like lose the momentum of what I've got, and I'm a one-man show here. So I've spoken to some other creators who do that, and it's like, well, we've got sort of a creative team behind channel one and be a creative team behind channel two, and they've got their main presenter for their channels, but it is a different team. I'm a one-man show. This is basically BremSter's stuff. It's just recently it's been puzzles, and I'm going to keep it as puzzles. I think that's going to be the main focus, but maybe people can send me messages, not in comments necessarily, but there's ways of contacting me below about what they think, whether you're comfortable just not looking at that content if you're not interested. I don't know, we'll see. But what I want to do right now is I want to celebrate the Quincentenary. Um, and the way this puzzle works. Now, on the video above me, right in the rules box up there, will be a summary. And in the puzzle and in the video description below will be a full list of how all of the rules work. Because there's a lot of them. This came together for a couple of different reasons. So if we look at this grid, first of all, there's the 500 in the middle, these being odd circles. But the important thing in this one is this was my original BremSter logo. Now, the two faded out diamond and the circle and the BremSter in it, don't worry about the fact that they're hard to read. That is deliberate, because those are just cosmetic. They were part of the original BremSter logo, and they were not meant, they do not provide any constraint or anything to this puzzle. That's just so that the original logo was there. And then a couple of weeks ago, I moved to a new, simpler logo for a couple of different reasons. I'll be honest with you, one of which was because I had some comments saying that I did this one in about 30 seconds, and I wanted something that was cleaner and felt more me. So I actually changed to this with some outside text. And it just felt simpler, and I liked it more. And I did always mean to change it. And with this new logo, what's been done is rockratzero made it so that my old logo, there was this arrow pointing down to the new logo, and it was sort of a progression over all of this time, from the old to the new. And with over 500 videos in this direction, I have moved from where I started to where I am now, and I think that's just absolutely beautiful. And I've just got a message from my mum I need to deal with. Um, sorry, just stuff. So I thought that was absolutely beautiful. The way that, um, yeah, moving from the old to the new, I thought was incredibly important. So I did want to keep that. Sorry, keep that is wrong. I did want to. I, how they incorporated that into the puzzle is just beyond me. I'm still a wreck. This is supposed to be a celebration, and I'm going to try and keep it there. Anyway, so the rules of the puzzle. Normal Sudoku rules apply. In every box, in every row, and in every column, the digits 1 to 9 must be placed without repetition. We've got black cages in the grid. In black cages, digits must sum to the number in the top left corner of the cage. I'll get to the red cages in a minute. Digits placed on the arrow must sum to the number at the end of the arrow or in that arrow's circles. Cells separated by a black dot have a 1 to 2 ratio. Cells separated by a white dot must be consecutive. Not all dots are necessarily given. On the green German whisper line, adjacent digits must have a difference of at least 5. Scrolling down. On the orange Dutch whisper line, digits must have a difference of at least 4. Digits in the orange bordered circles must be odd. And the red cages, and here's where the rules get tricky. Red cages are psycho killer cages. And the first puzzle ever on my channel was a psycho killer puzzle. And it's a constraint that I created for my first ever puzzle. So that being here, I know not everyone likes them, but we'll see how we go. A psycho killer cages, and a digit placed in a psycho killer cage. So let's say this 11 cage. So digits placed in psycho killer cage will refer to other digits in the grid that must sum to the totals given, but they themselves don't have to. So let's, for example, say that this was a 1 and this was a 2. Now, the 1 and the 2 do not sum to 11. So this would look broken. However, this 1 points to a location in the grid, which is the box of the digit, which is this box, and the cell in the same location in the box. So this being a 1 points to that cell. Box 1, same position in the box. So it points to that cell. This is a 2, and it points to the same position in box 2, because this is a 2, so it would point to that cell. So those two cells right there are the cells that would have to sum to 11. Now, if I was to change those, just as making sure the example is clear, if I was to change these to 3, let's make sure the example is clear. If I was to change this to 3, in the wrong mode, 3 and 4, then it would be that cell, because that's the same position in box 3, and that cell, which is the same position in box 4, and those two cells would need to sum to 11. So that's the way psycho killers work. The only other thing that is mentioned in the rules that I am aware of is that be aware that the text, the diamond, and the circle in box 1 are purely cosmetic and do not provide any constraint. That's just because this was in the original logo, and when I moved to the new logo, that's what was there. So I'm going to restart the puzzle to restart my timer. I have been told this is quite tricky, so I do not know how long it will take me. Let's give this a shot. So I see a 23 cage. A 23 cage can only be done with 6, 8, and 9. I see a 22 cage. Now, a 22 cage must contain a 9. 14 cage, no. 6 cage, no. Now, 42 cage, but it's a psycho killer, so I don't have any information on that yet. So this digit here, these digits, this is a minimum of 1 and 2, and this is a minimum of 1. So the minimum I can put in here is 5. Sorry, 4. 1, 2, 1 is 4. So this is 4, 5, or 7, because I can't use 6, 8, or 9. And it can't be 5. So this is 4 or 7. Now, if this is 1, 2, and 1, I don't see why that's a problem. 5 in this box? No. Okay. If this is a high digit, Hmm. There is a 9 in here. Outies in these boxes. Hang on. Let's look at 16 without 7. Without 7. 13 without 6. Now these are odd. So these are 1, 3, 7, or 9. But that doesn't stop me putting 1 and 2 on these. This is not 1 or 7. So this is 3 or 9. 7 is actually in one of those 3 cells. So these are 22. Hang on, it's 22 and I can't use 7. So this has actually been forced. This is 5, 8, 9 from the beginning because there's 2 ways of doing 22 in 3. I can use 6, 7, 9 or 5, 8, 9, but I can't do 6, 7, 9. So this is 5, 8, 9. This 8 can't be 1, 7, but that's not restricted. Actually, that might be restricted because the 6 cage, so the 8 cage is either 2, 6 or 3, 5. Now the 6 cage, now that isn't restricted. If this was, because if I do 1, 5, this becomes 2, 6. And if I do 2, 4, this becomes 3, 5. So that's not actually restricted. I can't put 7 on that arrow. Okay, that's something. I can't put 8 on that. Actually, what's the maximum I can put on this arrow? This could be a 1. So these get some to a maximum of 6. So the maximum I could put on these arrows is 4. Because if I can't use a 5, and if I put a 6 on this arrow, the other 2 would have to sum to 1. So these are from 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the minimum here is 5. So the maximum here is 2. So this is only 1 or 2. And this is not 1. So I keep getting... Messages from my parents are always important. Okay. Parents, it's mum. We had a... I'm sharing because why not? We had a family Discord chat, which was the 3 of us, and it's still listed as the family Discord chat. So I always think of it as a message from my parents. But it's always just going to be mum now. This 6 looks over, meaning this is 8, 9. I'm actually on this puzzle. I've been told it's hard and I'm not best. I'm actually going to turn the pencil mark checker on. So 6 is in one of those 2. So this 13 kg, I've already said it's got no 6. Hang on, 6 is not in those or those. So 6 is here because I can't put 6 on this arrow because if I did, this total is blown. So 6 is down here because it's not 5, 8, or 9, and it's not 1 or 2. And if 6 is down here, it's not in here. So this is not 2, 6. This is 3, 5. So this is not 1, 5. This is 2, 4, which means this is not 2, 4. This is 7. Now this 15 cage... I don't know. That's not a... Oh, which means that's not a 7. This is a 7 because 7 was restricted to those 3. It can't be on the arrow. It can't be on its own arrow, and it's seen by the bulb. So this becomes a 7. Cool. Now, with this being a 7, that's given me a bit more freedom here, I think. Got to put an 8 somewhere in here. which is interesting from the perspective of two other things. There's an 8 in here, so I can't put an 8 here and I can't put an 8 here. So there's an 8 down here, and I can't put an 8 here because it's in here, and I can't put an 8 here, so there's an 8 up here. I feel the black dot and the whisper line should be more powerful, but I'm not getting it yet. And Dutch Whisper is going to break my brain. I think it was the 200 puzzle. It might have been the 250, where I ended up doing it with a whole bunch of the people. And again, BremSter's team are probably a whole bunch of people from the Skunkworks. I'm not 100% sure. And I did it with a lot of people from the Skunkworks in the chat with me, and boy, did that turn out to be a hard puzzle. So there's a trend or a tradition on my channel of those being really hard. So I need to put 5 is in here. I don't see how 1, 2, 3, 4, or 6. Well, I've got the 6, but 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is from 1, 2, 3, 4 as well, because 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 are placed. So these are from 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got 3 of 1, 2, 3, 4 down here. So there's 1 of 1, 2, 3, 4 up here. So there's a 9 up here, because I can't put 9 in any of those, because 9 is here, and that's not 9. So there's also a 9 up here. So this 16 cage can't have 8 and 9, but I don't think it ever could, because 8 and 9 on their own, and there's only one cell in it. That was a dumb statement to make, and I'm going to pretend I didn't say it, and there's not going to be evidence on the internet, right? So this is a consecutive dot. It could be 1, 2. It can't be 2, 3. It can't be 3, 4. Can't be 4, 5. Can't be 5, 6. Can't be 6, 7. So this is either 1, 2 or 8, 9. That's unexpected. And there's got to be a 9 in here and an 8 in here. So 8 and 9 have to... Right, here we go. There must be an 8 and a 9 in those cells, because there's none down here and there's none down here. So there must be an 8 and a 9 down here. And the minute I put 1 of 8 or 9 on here, this can't become 1, 2, or this has to be both. So this is actually an 8, 9 pair. Which means if these are high, they are 6 and 7, and that becomes a 1. And that would be a 6, and that would be a 3, because I can't put 7 on a black dot. So it would be 6, 3, 1, 7, and I can't do that. So those are low, 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is high, 6 or 7. And it can't be 6, because if it was 6, both of those would have to be 1. That's the 7. This is 1, 2. 1 would only go with 2, 2 could go with 1 or 4. And this is a 1, 2, 4 triple, and I get a 3. That is very cool. This is 1, 2 pair, so that's the 4, which means this is the 2, this is the 1, this is a 1. Takes 1 out of there. I said I was going to use the pencil mark thing. And this is now a triple. 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6. And the 3 and the... I probably would have seen that if I hadn't had the red mark by. The 6 can't be in there, so this becomes the 6, and then of course this 3 looks over, making this 5 and this 3, and now I know that those two cells there are pointing to that cell and that cell, and those two cells there need to sum to 11. So if that is 8, that is 3, and it can't be. So this is not 8. Now, this is not 5 anymore. So 5 is in here. One is in one of these two, by Sudoku, and yes, I did see that. I was as I was typing it in, I was about to call it out. One is in one of these two, but this one looks down and says it can't be there. So that is a 1. Now this is still, so these are 6, 7, 8, 9. But this one can't be 8 or 9. Apparently it can't be 7. Oh, right. 7 looks down. But it can't be 8 or 9 because I must put an 8 or a 9 in here because this is either 9, 6 or 7, 8. So I can't put 8 or 9 in here. So this becomes the 6, which takes the 6 out of here, which means it's not 6, 9. This is 7, 8, which looks over here, making this the 9, taking the 9 out of there, and this becomes a 5, 8 pair. The 6 looks up, taking 6 out of there. The 8, 9 pair in the cage makes this a 6. Contrary to recent opinion, you cannot repeat digits in killer cages. And this is now a placeable digit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I've been going through a trend of listening to albums that are ones that I shared a lot with my father, but they are still backgroundy enough that I could solve to. And I can be sad while we're recording. I am not bashful about being sad. So these have to sum to 6 because I've already got a 1. So if this was a 2, if I put a 2 on here, I'd need a 5, and I can't do it. If I put a 1 on here, let me undo that. If I put a 1 on here, I'd need a 5, and I can't do it. A 2 would need a 4, but a 3 would need another 3. So this is a 2, 4 pair. Let's get the math right. So these are 2, 4, and 6. These have to sum to 11. I don't have enough yet. So these are going to be 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to put those in because I can see that the 2, 4 here removes those. Of course, the 5 removes that. Close to something happening here. There's got to be a 6 in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, there's a 6 in here. So one of these cells is included in this 42. 42 in 5 is really high. I should start thinking about that at some point, but I haven't yet. 42 in 5. How do you do that? So 5 nines is 45. So I've got 3 degrees of freedom. I think I'm right about that. 5 nines is 45. So I need to drop. I've only got 3 degrees of freedom. So if one of them was a 6, so 4 nines is 36. So I could do a 6 and 4 nines. So if I drop it, and they can never point at anything lower than a 6. So that's important to remember. So for example, this couldn't be a 4 because that would point at a 1, but it could potentially point there if everything else pointed at a 9. But both of those can't point at a 9, and both of those can't point at 9s. So I can't even point at anything low as 6, because if both of those, both of those can't point at 9s, because then I would need, because that is going to point at something in, no, that's not true, because I'm used to cages without, like if the cage was like this, without these two cells, then each of these could point at A9. I'm not sure about that. I've never played with cage of this size. I'm not going to use that logic because I think I might be wrong. But I don't, 5 8 is 40, but I need to point to at least 1 9. Probably 2. I don't know. I'll see how I get there. But I need 9s. I need a lot of 9s. And that 9 can't be pointed to. And if it's in this box, I could only point with that. And that would have to be a 9. Ooh, this is weird. Okay, this 11 cage, I just realised, can't be 5 6. Because I can't put either 5 or 6 in that cell. This 14 cage can't have a 7 in it. That's a running joke amongst several of the Sudoku people I know. This must have a 1 or a 2 in it. If it's got a 1 in it, it's there. If it's got a 2 in it, it's there. 1 here. So, okay, let's look at these digits because I've got 1. Whoa. Oh, I'm an idiot. Of course, I can't put 1 in those. So there's no 1 here. Where does 1 go in this box? It can't go in those because this can't be a 1 because of the fact that I can't put a 5 to get to the total. So 1 can't be here. 1 can't be on the arrow. These aren't 1s. This becomes the 1. This becomes the 8. And this becomes a 3, 9. The 8 here makes this a 9, this an 8. And I should have been able to do that earlier. 7, 8. Now I'm not typing correctly. That was really important. But this being a 3 or a 9, because these have to sum to 11, if this is a 9, this is a 2. If this is a 3, this is an 8. But I've got a 3, 9. Oh, the 8 looks down, making this 5 and this 8. And this is a triple now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. So this is 2, 4, and 6 up here. So I can't have 2 of 2, 4, or 6. So if this was 2, 6, 8, both of these would be 4. So this isn't 2, 6, 8. But that's not that restrictive. This can't be 169. I can't put a 1 in this cage. Because if I put a 1 in this cage, the only place to put it now is there, because I can't use 7. So 178 is out. So if I put 1, I can't use 7, 8, and I can't use 6, 9 because of that 9. So there's no 1 in this cage at all. So 1 is in one of those two cells. So this is a 189 triple, which I think I've now had for ages because of those 189s. So this is 189. There's no 1 in the middle. So there has to be a 2 or a 3 in here with a 4 or a 5. And there's got to be... There's a 5 in here somewhere for sure. And there's a 3 in here somewhere for sure. So because they... No, I can do 3 and 5 in the cage. 8 in this cage, is that a problem? So these sum to 11. This is tricky. So this row 4, is missing 2, 3, 4, and 9. I can see that there's going to be an elimination because of that 4. Oh, also that 2. Okay. Does that do anything to that cage? Because... No. One is in one of those. Well, 1 is not there. If 1 is in this cage... Yeah, I've already looked at this. Well, this can't be 1, 4, 8 in this cage. Because if it was, it'd be 1, 8. That would have to be 4, and it can't be. So that's not 1, 4, 8. If it was 1, 5, 7, it'd be 1, 7, and that would be 5, and that's okay. 1, 3, 9. I don't see a problem. 8 with 2, 3 would be okay. 7 with 2, 4. 7 with 2, 4 doesn't work because 7 can only go here because of that 7. This would be 2, 4, and that would break that cell. So this is not 2, 4, 7 either. So it's either 139, 157, or 238. So there must be a 7, an 8, or a 9 in this 13 cage, and because of that 7, 8, 9, it must go there. One, two, three. And these are from 1, 2, 3, and 5. Yeah, I'm not seeing that. Eight is up here somewhere. I've already got 6 up here. 7 is also up here. So that means it's not there. So 7 means that one of these two cells is pointed to. But this is the 42 cage. I can't point to anything lower than a 6. And I think 6 was even a problem, but I haven't proved that yet. So because I can't point to that cell, that's a 7. That's pretty cool. So now there's a 7 over here. There's a 7 in the 11 cage. I have a 7-11. Oh, I could really go with an iced coffee. Cheers. 7 in an 11 cage means this is 4, 7, which takes 4 out of there. So I can't use 7 in the 14 cage. I'd already proven that multiple ways by the fact that it's a 2-cell 14 cage for one. But I can't use 4 in a 6 cage. So this is 1, 5. And the 5 is looking up. I will take the pencil mark help for this one. I am tireder than I thought I was. And I also can't put 1 there. So that means this is an 8, 9 pair. This becomes the 1. 1 is now in one of these two cells. So there's a 1. Oh, no, 1 is placed. And this is a Dutch whisper line. So this has to be at least 4 different. So it's from 5, 6, 7. Yeah, it can't be 2, 3, or 4. So it's from 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And it can't be 6, 7, 8. So this is 5 or 9 only. And 9 has to be in here. The 14 cage. Now the 5 means that this can't be 5, 9. This is 6, 8. Which means there's no 8 here. The 1, of course, looked down, taking 1 out of there. I did miss this. And this now does have a 1 in it. It's either 139 or 157. So there's no 8 here. This becomes the 8, which looks up making this 2. These have to sum to 11 because of this cage. So 2 goes with 9. And I get a 9, which gives me a 3 here. This 2 looks down, making... this 8 looks down, making this 9. I am tired and I thought it's all okay. I'm not going to have a mental breakdown on camera again. 2 looks across, meaning this is not the 2. Now, these are highlighted because of a 3, which is that one. So there's no 3 here. This becomes the 5, which means I can take 5 out of those. I will take it. These are a pair. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3 and 8. I'm not seeing anything. If the pencil mark gives it to me, then okay. So 5 or 9, which points to there or there, both of which are possible, but they are going to severely restrict. This 7 is pointing to the 9. I'm going to unmark these yellows because those are done, but this is contributing to the 42 total. Now, this is either going to give me a 7 or a 6. Now, if it gives me the 6, then everything else has to point to a 9. And I think that's going to be a problem. But I'm not 100%. I feel that can't work. But I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I feel this is going to have to point to a 7. I feel that has to be a 5. But I can't prove... I don't want to rely on that yet. I'm not 100% sure. One of these is a 5. No, it's not, because I've got 2, 3, 4, 5 to place, and 5 sees that one, and I can't put 5 in either of those. This is a 5. So this is 1 and 5, which is 6. I need a 7 to get up there. So here I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is a 9. The 7 here looks up, making this 4 and 7. The 4 looks down, making this 3, which makes this 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I've got this column almost complete. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now I've got this box almost complete. This becomes a 3. The 9 looks over, making this an 8. I've got red everywhere. I'm going to turn that off. I'm finding it distracting. This becomes 6. This becomes 8. The 6 makes this 4, which turns down, making this not 4. Now, I'm probably going to miss stuff because I just turned that off, but you know what? I'll live with it. This does become 5, which means it is contributing the 7, but I didn't have to prove it by psycho killer math. This row is now, this was 3, is missing a 3, so there's no 3 in either of those. Now, I can't put 5 in any of those cells, and this box still needs a 5. Hopefully, this sums to 16. Yes, 8 plus 8, so I'm good. This becomes the 9. This is now 2 or 6. The 8 here looks over, making this 3 and this the 8. These are 2, 6, and 9, I believe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 2, 6, and 9. Now, this is not 9 and this is not 6. So this is pointing either here. It can't point there. If it points there, I'm completely broken by the 42 sum. So this becomes the 6. Which means this becomes the 2 and this becomes the 9. Now this 6 is pointing here, which gives me a digit. This 9 is pointing here, which gives me an 8. And at some point, actually now I can figure out the total, because I've got 18 plus 7 is 25 plus 8 is 33. This must point to a 9. Now it's not a 6, but it must point to a 9. Now it could be a So what are these two digits? These are 1, 2, and 4. Now, 4 can't be a 9. It has to point to a 9 in that position. It has to point to that one, and that becomes the 2, and that becomes the 4. Beautiful cage. Absolutely stunning. Yeah, it is very, very clear to me that people who have tried to set Psycho Killer are better at it than me. And you know what? I love it. I absolutely love it. This 3 looks over, making this 4 and this 3. It'll be stuff I missed. This 2 looks over, making this 4, and this becomes 2. The 2 looks down, making this 4. This becomes 2. This becomes 4. I get 4 out of there. I'm going to remove the corner pencil marks. This 2 looks down, making this 6 and this 2. The 2 in the box already makes this 6. And that, congratulations. Thanks for supporting BremSter for 500 puzzles. Good luck with your solving. Thank you, everyone. It's been a wonderful journey getting to 500 puzzles. And as I said, all of the other content as well. I'm going to get back to the horror in my life. The messages I was getting from my father at the end, I was on the radio, basically just before he passed away, and he did get to hear that, and he was telling everyone around him how proud he was, that I was interviewed on the radio for Hamilton. And I couldn't believe that the Hamilton crew wanted me to represent them on Brisbane radio. If people are interested, I can provide a link to that. It was put on their website. And he was so proud of that, and all he was telling people. And then when I got back from that trip, which he absolutely insisted I go on, that he was already fading, and I never got to talk to him about it. And to know that I've got so many supporters in a community, and that he would have been so proud that I've got this far. Thank you, everyone. If this is too emotional for you, thank you for enjoying the puzzle, and good luck with your solving. But I just need to say to everyone who has been with me all the way, I do need to specifically, and I don't know if he was one of the people involved with this, but I do need to specifically call out to Sotek, who was with me in the very first puzzle. He's the person who helped me put that together and make that first video. Um, Thank you, everyone, along the way, and that, so many people. I could never thank them all. Um, Everyone who's contributed, puzzles, everything. I'm not going anywhere. There'll be another puzzle, maybe not tomorrow, but there will be more coming. The problem series will return. I will record more role playing stuff. I want to do that. That's for me. Yeah, thanks everyone, and to those who've made it through the very soppy message of BremSter being way too emotional. Good luck with your solving.